Alright, Nikki, I just wanted to get this other video out to you because the current enemy seems like it's coming along quite quickly, so might as well get this one out to you. So this one I wanted to do basically a tweak to the helicopter, and it's going to actually be a really cool enemy that's going to add a lot of different flavor to the way enemies actually attack and add conflict to the battlefield and to the player. So I wanted to take, like, you see I erased a lot on the side here, and this is just my, I'm going to leave this a little bit more up to you as far as how to make this look quote-unquote cool, but this is the base. I wanted this to basically look, as you can tell, if you really start looking at this, it almost looks like your inspiration for this piece almost looked like it was a missile. You can follow the eraser here where my mouse is, and it almost looks like you started with like a missile, and this almost ended up looking like a cannon. So basically what I want this to be is like a helicopter that's basically flying around a cannon that is kind of flying around. So we got rid of some of the stuff on the sides, and then what I'll do is come over here, and we can make like this cannon much larger, and I love the detail, like see all the details you have in here with that, with like ribbed, and obviously I want to keep like all that kind of stuff in there, make this cannon like really like much bigger, almost like the size. Basically I want it to be a big hovering cannon blast like that, and then we can you can doll up these sides however you see fit. Before it kind of all came out to like here with like the gun blasters. I definitely don't want it to look too much like the other one, so I want there to be some differences. So maybe you just add like some flair on the side here, like make some of those little like cargo holders on the side here, and then do something on the sides here to kind of beef these up on the sides and give it some texture and stuff, or maybe even like a little, I wouldn't go too much with like points. I'd keep these more like boxy, maybe like little nubs on the side here, just to give it like a little bit of a texture. I'm going to leave that one kind of up to you as far as like making it look quote-unquote cool and detailed and texture, but I mean this is a really good starting point. And so basically what this enemy is going to do, and the other thing I need with this enemy, is it's going to be its laser blast. So this is going to attack the player in a whole different way, and it's going to like add a lot more of dynamics to the way I handle conflict within the game, which is great because we need that. We need to spice stuff up. So this is going to be a large laser blast, and as you can see, I got the enemy kind of moving here, and it's going to attack. So at first, I wanted to have this like infrared laser, as you'll see very soon. Hopefully, it attacks. Sorry, I think I got the programming down. So the laser blast is going to have. See how it starts out really short and then it gets much larger? That's going to almost be, picture like a sniper rifle, with a laser scope on it. That's going to be the player's warning. Now, the laser that I currently have is quite large, but I want 3 different versions of this laser blast. So I would like a really thin one, and then I'd like a medium-sized one, and then I'd like a large-sized one. The large size should probably be like the size of what you see here. But every one of them should have this little infrared beam that comes out almost like its sight or its laser sight. This is what's going to warn the player that they need to get out of the way. And I'll tweak the animation frames however milliseconds I see fit as far as to give the player enough warning. I'm also going to, I haven't programmed it yet, but I'm also going to have a different version of this enemy that comes in from the sides too. So you can almost kind of envision, I'll be able to have lasers blasting from the top, and sometimes I'll even have it almost like a checkerboard, so the player is going to be really like, oh shit, something's coming, or dodge out of the way. So this will give the player an indication that there is a laser blast coming, and then they'll be able to react to it, get out of the way, or time it properly and just roll right through it, or they can always just torpedo blast through it. Have their invincibility frames. So I think this is going to be like a really cool way. At that point we'll have regular bullets, we'll have homing missiles, and then we'll have these cool little laser blasts. And like I said, I'd like 3 different versions of this. Small, medium, and large. I would consider the one that you see on here the large version. And let me just kind of show you what I had going on. Let me see this. As far as the laser blast goes, so it's going to be, since it needs to travel the entire distance of the battlefield, I have the pixels at, this is the large one, which is, 64 with, the transparency is 64 by, and then the length or the height is 700 pixels. So this being the large one, let's go to the large one here where it's fully blasted. So maybe the small one is, a little bit bigger than the, well, let's just say the middle one will be half this size, and then the small one will be another half of this size. So I just want this to be this will be the quote-unquote large one, and then there'll be two other sizes. Now, the one thing, we don't need the bottom to be animated, and honestly, I really don't even think we need any other frames. I think this needs to just literally be 2 frames, because I want this to come out really quick. So I want it to be like, and this infrared blast, I even think that this on my end is almost a little too thick. I'd like it to be like really, really small, almost like I said, like a laser scope, just to give the player that little warning that, hey, that you need to get out of the way, kind of thing. And then it'll be up to the player to kind of see where that infrared's coming out of and how big of a cannon it's coming out of, and then they'll be able to dictate like how big the actual blast is going to be depending on the size of the cannon that's shooting at them. So yeah, I want this to be very similar to what I have here. Maybe even just a little thinner. And then this, we don't need any animation. I definitely want to make sure that the middle of it is animated, just like our enemy bullets. You can keep that same kind of like that little bit of a yellow touch in there, and I want this to be like pretty heavily, like a lot of movement in here, up and down, almost just like this continuous laser blast, and I'll loop this as many times, we'll just keep this looping, and I'll probably run it really fast. So excuse me, we don't need 2 frames. The frames that we need are, we don't need frames that have like this coming to, we don't need a frame where it just comes to here, and then another frame where it's a little bit bigger, and then a frame where it's like 700 pixels. This, we can have all the frames of the large laser blast all be 700 pixels. It doesn't need to grow, because I do want it to be like a really quick, like, flash, But we do need, the animation frames would be made up of, movement, and creating movement in here, making all this look really, really, flashy as far as that goes. And it can just have the same kind of movement as our current enemy bullet. And I think this is going to be, and the other thing where we really need animation is up top. So where it comes out of the cannon, I want this to be like different. I want this to almost have like a little bit of a blast effect at the top here, because this will be where I fabricate that out of where I create this coming out of the enemy ships. I want to make sure that this has a lot of continuous movement in it, almost like it's being blasted, and then it funnels down into this, but only for like the first, however many pixels that is, from like there to there, do I want that like blast. Once it gets beyond that, I want it to be a very straight, concise, tight laser, flame, kind of like what we did with the last circular enemy, how it's like a torch blast, So I think this will be like a really cool addition, and it'll really add a lot of variety to the way the enemies attack, If we get 3 different versions of this, as far as medium, small, large, that'll allow me to just really, the colors can be the exact same. I want the color palettes to be really similar, so it shouldn't be a huge deal to make the 3 different sizes, and then at that point I've got all types of different ways to attack the character. So yeah, man, we'll go with this next enemy. Let me just pull up the one more time, pull this guy up so you have one more look at it. And this is definitely one of those things where, if you feel like we need a little bit more weight, if you feel like this looks just a little too cylinder-like, and you think we need like a little bit more weight here on the back end, and then like a little bit more weight in the front end, just as long as it looks different than the current helicopter, and again, this being much larger. and then we'll see how this enemy looks. And if this enemy here, I would like this cannon to use the middle size attack that you do for me. So if I like the way this is going and I like the way that this looks, I might even have you do a smaller version of this enemy that would take the smaller laser. So just keep that in the back of your mind. But yeah, I mean, as far as like the width of this cylinder, it should be the width of like the middle laser attack, you know. And then, you know, so this should have flying animation and then shoot. Now, its shoot is mainly going to look good from the laser blast. The laser blast that I animate at its tip is going to create, like, the quote-unquote, like, blast. But this still needs to glow in some way, shape, or form, which you've been doing nicely with all the other ones. So I'll definitely need fly, shoot, and fly and shoot like you have been doing on all your other pieces. All right, man, let me know if you have any questions about this, and I'll get this emailed over to you right away, man. I can't wait to get these sprites going. The other one looks really good, and I can't wait to start putting it in the game. And then I've got a pretty good plan of attack on how I want to wrap these enemies up as far as the common enemies, and then we can start bosses. All right, later, man.